What's up, everybody? This is Life on a Mission podcast. I'm here with my good buddy Steve Bidwell, and we are in San Diego, California this weekend. And we're going to be talking about fitness today. We're going to talk about healthy living, good lifestyles, but I think one of the main reasons we're obviously talking about this is because he does CrossFit, and he is in a regional competition right now, but I'm going to just let him introduce himself real quick and say a little bit about himself.
Yeah, so I'm Steve Bidwell. I've known Drew since probably elementary or middle school. But yeah, I am currently an Army officer, active duty Army officer, and I was a personal trainer and CrossFit coach for quite a while. Been competing for about 3 years, actually competing. But yeah.
I wanted to ask you, I would say a lot of people who don't know anything about CrossFit or probably aren't in the military would probably look at your lifestyle and consider it an extreme lifestyle. What would you say to people who would think that maybe that
Say it's extreme?
it would probably think that it probably wouldn't be worth pursuing or would just say it was extreme?
I mean, I think people who are, I guess, sedentary or like, I don't want to use the word like average, but they think a lot of people like look at my life. I guess like they see like because my job's pretty busy. We work out in the morning for physical training in the morning with the Army, and it's an all-day job, usually till about 5 to 6. We travel a lot, go in the field a lot. But yeah, get done at 5 or 6, and then I got to go straight to the gym till about 9 p.m. or so. So people would say that's a little extreme, but in my eyes, at least, it's like at least I have a goal, and I'm just doing what I can to get that goal. It's just like in my mind, it's like other people who have non-fitness goals. They get done with work, and then they do different things. They don't just go back and sit on their couch. They're doing other things. It's just my other thing is fitness, when like their other thing may be something with music or whatever it may be, whatever their hobby is.
Yeah. What do you think? Let me ask you this: how many hours would you say you commit a day to exercise and fitness, just because of your sport?
It's a little different than like normal people. Like when I say like I spend an hour in the gym, it's just there's a lot more when you're competing that you do in the gym other than just working out. As you know, like there's a lot of time you put into like recovering your body, like soft tissue work, warming up, stretching. But as for like hours in the gym, if that's what you mean, like usually it's 2 hour in the morning roughly, like, and that's counting my physical training with the Army, because I can kind of control what we do. And then usually maybe another 30 minutes to an hour on lunch. And then on my training days, at least 2 to 3 hours a night. And then same thing on the weekend, usually like 2 sessions on Saturday, like a 9 a.m. to 12, and then a 2 to 4-ish type deal. It's not like that all year round, but it's pretty close to it.
Okay. Obviously, a lot of people who pursue fitness or do CrossFit come from different backgrounds. What would you say about your upbringing or your life experiences has led you to this lifestyle?
Well, for me, I mean, growing up, I always played sports, but I was never like the super fit kid, as you know. I was pretty chubby up till freshman year of high school. I was still athletic. Like, I mean, I played a ton of sports, elementary and middle school. I was always good at sports, played a lot of them.
You were an offensive lineman, though.
Yeah,
football.
I was a little chubby. And then freshman year is when I started, 8th grade freshman year when I started jiu-jitsu.
Yep, we did that together.
And yeah, jiu-jitsu, different MMA, things like that. That's when I wanted to start getting fit, and then that's when I started P90X. It was freshman year. I did that for years, like 2 years straight.
How many pounds did you lose when you first did that?
I lost a ton. I probably lost 40 pounds total in like over a year or two.
Because you weighed...
I was close to 200.
If I remember, yeah, you weighed 200 pounds your sophomore year of high school.
And then I did a fight. I remember we had a fight at like 150, 149, something like that, which is 50 pounds, I guess. But I cut weight for that. But I got down to like 165, and I sat there for most of high school. But yeah, around junior year when I decided I wanted to join the military for sure, that's when I swapped from doing P90X. And I was kind of scared because I was like, oh, this is CrossFit's way different. But from what I could research, people who were like big into like, because at the time I was still wanted to like go the whole whoever out and go to be a SEAL or something like that. And then I researched and it was like always like CrossFit, SEAL Fit, things like that. So I kind of just like dabbled in a little bit more like the body weight workouts, stuff like that in the garage. As you know, we started the whole Bidwell garage gym. I guess that was junior year, senior year? Yeah, junior year. But yeah, I wouldn't say I really started CrossFit till about senior year. That's when I was like for real about it, when I stopped playing football and I stopped wrestling.
When you did the internship with Derby City?
Yeah, exactly. I think it was the end of senior year when I started actually like doing an internship. Got my level 1, started coaching. And things fell into place from there. And I tried to compete here and there, but I wouldn't say I was really serious about competing until like a little early into college, like the second year. Because I took that year off when I went to Kosovo with the Army. I took that open off after that.
So when you decided to join the military, was joining the military was when that switch kind of turned on to pursue fitness? To pursue like a really healthy lifestyle?
No, I was pursuing fitness way before that. I'd say freshman year is when that switch came. Like just when I decided I talked to you about it. I remember at the time, like I was like, I just didn't want to be fat anymore. So I started P90X. I started tracking my blocks, how P90X used to do macros now. And I got a little probably too obsessed with like my physique, I guess.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to start CrossFit. That's why I enjoyed CrossFit, because it gave me that switch from not that I wasn't like healthy with P90X, but I think it was more functional when I switched to CrossFit. I got much better athlete, much better like human being health-wise. Like if I had the body I had now when I was in high school, I'd have been a different athlete. It would have been a whole different story.
What would you say to somebody that, would probably say like, well, why don't I just do bodybuilding and I would just look just as good as you or something?
Yeah,
like,
no, I mean obviously like, well, I mean for me, like obviously you just have to decide what's like a goal in your life. Like there's also CrossFitters that are way more aesthetically pleasing than I am. Like I don't have the best genetics. I'm not the most ripped person. That's not what makes me good at CrossFit. But I mean, I'm happy with it.
But it's like your capacity to do something that gives you that.
It just depends. Like if like even when I was a nutrition coach, like and like doing personal training and all that kind of junk. Like if I had a client who was like literally 100%, they would straight up tell me, they're like, yeah, I really don't care as long as I can like function. I don't really care if I'm that super fit. I just want to look fit. Then for sure, like isometric exercises, bodybuilding, low impact cardio, because they don't really care about being functional per se. They just want to look good.
Right.
But for the majority of the people who don't want to put in the commitment bodybuilding takes to like look aesthetically pleasing, if they don't want to change their nutrition a drastic amount, I think something like CrossFit or really just functional fitness in general is the way to go. It's the most bang for your buck. I mean, working out an hour a day, actually being functional movements, compound movements, where you're like using different muscle groups all at the same time. And you're training for life in general. Yeah. Especially for people who like want to be active, like they want to rock climb, they want to go for hikes, they want to do things like that. They want to be able to walk up the stairs and not be out of breath. It's like that's why I think it's a better fitness program. So you would say pretty much anybody should be able to get into it if they wanted to. Oh yeah, it's universally scalable. That's the one thing that I love. I mean, hopefully anyone listening who has any misconceptions about CrossFit can clear things up. We were talking to somebody today about it. Yeah. That's the number one question. You always, like whenever I tell people, I'm like, oh, I'm competing in CrossFit, they assume that like competing in CrossFit is CrossFit. But, I mean, if you guys looked at like the open placings, like the qualify for regionals, I think it was 0.01% of us made it to regionals out of, what, a million, or I want to say 400,000, 500,000 people. Is that how many competed this year? Yeah, overall, men and women, masters, competitors. But I mean, in my region, for example, in the West Coast region, top 35 made it to regionals. And this is from Southern California. So the border of Mexico up to Canada West, so like into Canada. I think there was like I want to say 33,000 males, and only 35 made it. So that puts in perspective for people. Like I would say only like 200 to 300 of those 30,000 are really like serious about it. The ones that are like living the lifestyle I am. But the rest of the people who sign up for the Open and do CrossFit, like it's a fitness regimen. Like the sport version is like everything else. Like it's like there's people who casually play softball, and then there's professional softball players. You see what I'm saying? There's people who casually go for runs, and there's people who professionally run the Boston Marathon. It's just like any other fitness program. It's like people who do calisthenics. There's people who like go to the beach and do pull-ups, and there's also people who make videos of doing bar stars and everything. It's like everything has its like different levels.
So when somebody like YouTube's CrossFit or something, and they see
Yeah.
one of those extreme videos, that's not necessarily what it
Exactly.
is.
Like if you YouTube CrossFit, you'll probably see the games, people like dying out there. But that's not. I wouldn't even say that's CrossFit. It's a form of CrossFit, or it's a version of it. But CrossFit's like, it's just basically functional fitness. It's like
It's just all the
putting-
most extreme aspects of that sport at that particular time, right? For the competition.
yeah, for the competition. Yeah, it's the sport version of it.
Right.
But CrossFit in general is like universally scalable. Like I had back when I had clients. I mean, I had 70-year-old clients. You had 10-year-old girls. You had a 40-year-old mother of two. It's universally scalable, and what I mean by scalable is that no matter what the movement is or the workout is for that day, like your trainer, I mean, obviously there's some bad trainers out there, but they can change those movements. They can look through like a plethora of movements, tailor it to what you physically can do, and you're still going to get the same workout out, and it's going to be tailored to you and your intensity. Because that's another thing. That's the one thing with CrossFit that separates it from everything else, in my opinion, is intensity. Intensity is what gets you in shape. Intensity is what makes you actually see results.
Part of the definition, right?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know off the top of my head.
Various
100 or what, fitness in 100 words, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But the actual, it's high.
It's like high intensity functional.
High intensity functional movements, or I don't even remember. It's like basically functional movements are performed at a high intensity over different modalities, and what that means is like modalities, like it could be like monostructural or different movements, single movements, running, swimming, for example, or like multiple movements with a barbell, push-ups, sit-ups. It could be different versions of everything. But high intensity is the key. I'm not saying that every workout I ever do is intensity, like has a crazy high intensity, but the people who only work out an hour a day and come to a CrossFit class, the reason they can come to a CrossFit class and do a 10-minute warm-up, do 15 minutes of like, let's say, heavy lifting or strength work, and then do a 5-minute metabolic conditioning workout or cardio workout per se, for people who don't know what metabolic conditioning is intensity. Like if I had you walk 10 miles right now, like at a slow pace, walk 10 miles, compared to if I had you do, let's say 5 miles. 10 miles is a little extreme. Compared to if I had you right now do 20 minutes of 30 seconds of burpees as hard as you can go, and then 30 seconds of walking around resting. You're probably going to burn more calories if you go all out with intensity of doing like high intensity interval training like burpees. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's what people don't understand. Like that's why I think you see a lot of people who like think they're doing bodybuilding in quotations, because everybody says it's bodybuilding. They don't see the results is because their cardio is maybe a 1-mile jog when they start their workout, or maybe a 2-mile walk, or maybe the Stairmaster for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, like you can get in great shape doing low intensity aerobic work like that.
Right.
But you have to be training like a bodybuilder. You have to be, the rest of your workouts need to have intensity, which professional bodybuilders do, and you got to be eating perfect. But for normal people who just want to like do 20 minutes of cardio, like 20 minutes of slow ass time on the elliptical is not the same as a 20-minute high intensity functional movement CrossFit workout.
Yeah.
And I think if you go try CrossFit, you see that because you see people on the floor afterwards. You see people drenched in sweat on their backs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't see people do that in a normal.
But they
gym.
get more out of that than doing some thing that they just feel comfortable with the whole time.
Exactly. Comfort is not a good thing in fitness.
Yeah.
And obviously, I don't want you to be uncomfortable in pain. There's a difference between being uncomfortable and in pain, but
there's a difference between pain and injury.
Yeah.
Right. Well, let's talk about the competition aspect of it for a minute, because we're here at regionals. Go ahead and explain to the audience what's going on right now, because you just kind of explain the Open.
Yeah, so like the Open is like the online qualifier. It's like 5 weeks long, and it's anyone in the world can compete, sign up. But the ones that want to go to regionals, it's got to be a little more standardized. So they release the workouts. You got to videotape it when you do it. You got to have an official judge. You got to submit your video and your score, and then by the end of the 5 weeks, depending on where you're placing ours, if you get an invite to regionals. So most regions is top 20. My regions is bigger, it's top 35. And then you make it to regionals, and that's this weekend. And regionals for everyone, like there's 8 different regions, multiple weekends, and you're only competing against people in your regional.
Mm-hmm.
And usually,
so it's you and how many other people?
It's 40 people.
40
and
people.
only 5 people go to the actual CrossFit Games, which I'll get into in a second. But so basically, we're fighting for the top 5 spots because that's how you qualify for the actual CrossFit Games, like what you see on ESPN. mean, yeah, it's 3 days, usually like 6 to 10 events, and basically you're just competing against these 4 fit dudes and trying to get a top 5. And there's a men's competition, women's competition, and a team. But yeah, if you make it out top 5, any of those divisions, then you get an invite to the actual CrossFit Games, which are either in California or like Wisconsin this year. But yeah, that's like the World Series of fitness. It's like the goal. Most people who do that are basically like professional athletes at that point. Like their job is they get paid by sponsors to compete in CrossFit.
Yeah.
You don't just mess around and make it to the CrossFit Games.
Right. So you have to be very disciplined to get to that level, and obviously this is the highest level that you've competed at. This is your first regional competition ever.
No, I've been to regionals before.
For a team, yeah. So
this is the first time I've been as an individual, which is a whole different world. Yeah. I mean, even to qualify as an individual, like it was very difficult for me to do with a job per se.
What have you learned this weekend about yourself and just about that world?
I'm always going to struggle with time just from being an active duty Army officer. Like I'm never going to have the time some of these CrossFit coaches have per se. But I've definitely learned I need to be a little more efficient with my time, and what I mean by that is like I need to prioritize my weaknesses, because there's definitely some weaknesses I like been neglecting to make it to this point for like the open to get through that. But yeah, that's basically what I learned. I need to prioritize some weaknesses, especially in the time that I have.
What were some weaknesses that you found out about yourself?
For me, overall, I just need to get stronger in all facets, really. But like raw strength numbers, especially shoulder stability, things like that.
Is there anything mentally about this weekend that you found out about yourself?
Yeah, for sure. I'd say I was not prepared for like the nerves per se.
Yeah.
That plays a big part in it, especially when you're out there and there's thousands of people yelling at you.
And you're a ranking officer in the Army, so you're used to pressure.
Yeah, nerves are the thing. Like I mean, normally in my life, like I get nervous all the time. I get stressed, but I handle it pretty well. Obviously, it's kind of my job description. But it's different. Like the Army is a completely different world compared to like. I mean, it's similar to like if you play football in high school or like Friday Night Lights. Like you always got nervous, but I mean, you learn to overcome it as you like keep going. And hopefully next year, if I make it, it'll be a little different. I got better with it through the events, but there's definitely some. I mean, you could see I was a little nervous going out there. But
were you nervous about the guy next to you, or were you just nervous about
I was never nervous
yourself?
about the people next to me. It's just about myself, letting people down, things like that. And it was just a little different just because, like, normally in a gym, like, I'll warm up and I'll hit my workout. Here, it was like you warm up and you got to go stand in a line while they put, like, the chip timers on your ankle, give you the briefing, and it's like 15, 20 minutes later when you finally hit the workout. So you got all these built-up nerves, and then standing in the tunnel, everybody looking at you. And then being out there under the lights, it's definitely a different story. But yeah, just things to learn, change around in my training. Honestly, it's just mental toughness. It's not even like a physical thing. It's just about I got to get tougher.
So, as a CrossFit athlete and as an officer in the military, is there anything that you would say that you know about mental toughness compared to an average citizen?
I mean, to an extent. I've never had a combat deployment. I've only been to Kosovo and some European countries, things like that. So I can't speak from that angle. I mean, I've trained for it. I'd say that adds to somewhat of the mental toughness. But yeah, I definitely think I have an edge on my competitors because as you know, I'm not the most physically fit person compared to some of my competitors. Like, if you look at me carrying room, a lot of them are bigger than me, more vascular. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You'd think they'd be tougher, but it's just different. Honestly, like even just like. I'd say some people just having a job makes you tougher, especially when you're in the Army, like getting up early, working out early in the morning, rain, snow, whatever it may be. And then I'd say I learned a lot about mental toughness just from like being able to work out wherever I may be. Like if I'm in the field for a month, and when I say the field, that's basically what we call like when we go on like a training exercise for like usually a month, 2 months, whatever it may be. You're eating MREs, you're sleeping in tents, you're sleeping outside, you're sleeping on the ground, whatever it may be.
And you've got one coming up after this, right?
Yeah, we'll go. I go next week for a couple of weeks. But yeah, we go all the time. We go every other month or every month, basically, for a couple of weeks to a month. So definitely, I mean, I have a disadvantage compared to my other competitors who get to train full time because it definitely affects my fitness when I have to go eat MREs and take off from full-time training. I'll usually do a couple workouts here and there when I'm in the field, but it's just you're not showering. It's kind of nasty, honestly.
Yeah.
Just training for a month straight, not showering. But
one of the reasons I asked that is, well, hold on, we'll let this train go by. Actually, let me go close that door real quick.
I don't know if that was a train.
It's so much better. I don't know why I didn't think of that.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Well, one of the reasons I asked that is because I feel like in this day and age, there's so many books and just like YouTube videos coming out about mental toughness, talking about how to develop a strong mind.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're kind of just catering to some, I don't want to say sissy type people, but it's like, I think at the end of the day, plain and simple, it's like you tell somebody, it's like, well, you either put the work in to get there or you're not going to get it.
Yeah, no, I
like
agree.
if that's just the key to mental toughness, if you just realize
writing
that.
books on it because everybody thinks there's an answer to your issue.
There's like a secret key.
Yeah, everybody wants a solution to your problems, but a lot of times the solution is like right in front of your face. Like, man up and do something about it.
That's
always the advice I give. I mean, if anyone, I think every self-help book boils down to that, is to do something.
Yeah.
Most people think they can read a book and like in their mind they're going to figure out, oh, this guy did this for mental toughness. I'll just do exactly what he did. But then they hear what these people did, especially if they're reading like a military type book.
Mm-hmm.
They'll read what these people did and they're like, oh, I don't want to actually go through the steps it takes to actually better myself and better my life.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously I'm being judgmental and generalizing, but yeah, it's kind of how it goes. I think people nowadays, for the most part, don't want to take the steps required to get what they want.
Yeah.
They want what they want. It's not even fitness. It's people in business. Like, a lot of kids we went to school with, they want money. They want a job.
Yeah.
They want this great life. But they're still not doing anything about it. They may have graduated, still working some shitty job. They're still, they're still working the same job and not, like, trying to progress, things like that.
Yeah.
But they talk about it all the time. They're like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that.
I feel like I know a lot of guys that talk about how many books they read with stuff like that, and then when they hear somebody doing something extreme, like let's just take CrossFit for an example. You were telling me about one guy,
like quitting your job and then training full time.
Yeah, he quit his job and trained full time, and then you're like, well, that's crazy, that's stupid, I'd never do that. I'd be like, okay, well, he's competing at the level that you want to be at.
Oh yeah,
and you're watching him.
I used to think it was crazy, and don't get me wrong though. I wouldn't. Obviously I can't.
But it's about what you want though.
Yeah.
You want to be in the Army. You want to do the life.
If I wasn't bound by the Army, if I wasn't under a government contract to serve my country, and I know I picked to do this, but maybe in a few years I'll go back to just coaching CrossFit, maybe pursue my goal, maybe the CrossFit Games. But not that I'm going to stop trying now. But it's tempting. But
there's definitely some.
Yeah, it's hard to judge people, but I think at the same time, like it's awesome to think about, like, oh, quitting your job and doing something you love. You know what I mean? Like, or moving across country, going to Europe for 2 months. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I think it's great to like do something like that in your life. Like, I would love to. When I got out of the Army, I'd love to like, me and Lexi actually talked about this. Like when I got out of the Army, like save up enough money and like go to like South America or something for like a month. You know what I mean? But I would never. You can't be careless enough to just like throw away everything and do something like that and have no backup plan.
Right.
In my opinion, like you got to put in the work if you want to do something like that. Like you want to do something to drastically change your life. And I know, like, you'll read a lot of self-help books and you see this shit on Instagram. They're like, "Well, drop right now, stop what you're doing, go to a beach." You know what I mean? But it's not theoretical. It's not theoretical. Or it's not theoretical. It's not the right word. It's not realistic.
Practical.
Practical. Yeah, you got to put in the work to earn to do something like that. In my opinion.
Yeah.
Just because you want something doesn't mean you deserve to do it.
Or at least have a plan.
Exactly. Just because you got all these quotes tattooed on your body and you read a lot of self-help books and you follow a bunch of traveling Instagram pages doesn't mean you have the right that these people have to just pick up and leave and not have any money and then ask your parents or your friends to support you. Like, you got to put in the work, you got to find a job, earn your money, like earn your livelihood, get like a place, like a niche in life, then go do something like that.
You
Then
should be
follow your
doing
dreams.
you should be doing things on a daily basis that are going to lead you to
those
that.
goals. Exactly. It's not a just drop the hat. I'm at my goal.
Like if I quit everything that I was doing right now and was trying to compete, like to do CrossFit, that would be the most foolish thing ever.
Yeah, exactly.
But if I
It's
started,
like for me, like if I wanted to train more, let's say like I started leaving work early, or I started taking breaks at work and going to work out, and like didn't tell my commander, or my boss per se. I mean, like, cool. I'd probably get way fitter. I'd probably qualify for more competitions. I could make up lies, get out of the field to go compete. You know what I mean? To travel, I could probably like take leave.
Mhm.
But like, what's that going to do for me? Like, honestly, all it's going to do is probably get me fired. Go work a shittier job. Not like I want to make less money, but I mean, like, you kind of got to decide like where you're going to make these sacrifices at. If that makes any sense. Yeah.
there's a key element of hard work that I think that people aren't really talking about in like finding the life that you want or putting it together the way that you want it to be, and that's one of the most undeniable truths of CrossFit is that like you really can't see it any other way.
Yeah.
You can't see it as in like, okay, well, if I switch from this pre-workout to this pre-workout
Yeah.
or this diet to this diet, then it's going to
I
change
think
everything.
that's a huge thing in CrossFit with like programming. So when I say programming, it's who is like telling me, like my coach per se is like giving me my workouts every day. People hop on board with all these different programs, these different coaches. They give it a month and they don't feel like they're getting fitter, so they swap. They give that a month, they swap. And then they get to the open, they don't do as good as they do. They dump that coach, get a new one. And I mean, that's just not how life works. That's not how anything works. It's not how the human body works. You're not going to see adaptations and changes in your fitness by jumping on a new program, not following it to fruition, and then just hopping on another one. You know what I mean? It's not how it works.
Yeah.
And it's just like that in life. Like you can't work a job for a month and then expect to put that on your resume and get a better job. No one wants to see that. No one wants to see a quitter.
You can't even expect to see the benefits of that job
Exactly.
within a month.
It's like that with everything. It's like a relationship. You can't go be in a relationship and be committed to it for a month, and if it's not exactly what you want, I mean, I guess you can. Don't get me wrong. There's some relationships you got to quit in a month.
Right.
But if it's like on you, not putting in the work and like wanting something out of it, then like, who are you to stop if you're not even the one putting in the effort? It's just like that in everything.
Yeah.
In my opinion, at least. But
yeah, that's one of the things that I think our generation is failing to learn, or at least with the way that social media comes about and like kind of shows everything happening right now.
Yeah.
Like especially if you're a CrossFitter on Instagram, you're watching these CrossFitters. I mean,
yeah.
There's no.
And don't get me wrong. I mean, some people are genetically gifted and they can come do CrossFit for a year and make it to regionals. But for the majority of us, the majority of those kids out there, like I was when I was 18 and I saw these people. I mean, I've been trying for 3 years now to make it to, and I just now made it barely. It's how it goes. You got to put in the work.
Well, think about.
You got to skip the parties on the weekends. You got to eat right. You got to skip vacations. I mean, I skipped spring break 2 years ago in college I didn't make it to regionals those years, but I still did it.
Think about the one guy in your region right now Brent Fikowski.
Yeah.
He's been doing CrossFit for who knows how long, and he didn't get amazing until last year.
Yeah, no, probably 2 years ago. But yeah, he's been probably doing CrossFit for 10 years. He used to be tall and skinny.
Mm-hmm.
He was one spot away from making the CrossFit Games 2 years in a row. Kept coming back, and then now he came back that third year and dominated.
And he came in second place, right?
No, he came in first place, and then second place in the games. He came in first place in the regionals.
Yeah, yeah.
He dominated the regional.
Yeah.
And he's in second place this year in the regionals.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like Josh Bridges, the guy in first place right now in the regional. He's like 35. Was Navy SEAL for a long time. He's been doing CrossFit for probably 12 years. I don't know. He probably started in the Army or the military. But yeah, it takes commitment. You don't get what you want overnight.
What do you think the rest of the world that doesn't participate in a lifestyle like yours, like CrossFit or fitness on that level, can learn from?
From like CrossFit? Like the competitive side?
No, from CrossFit itself, like as a lifestyle. Like as implementing that into the...
Like their daily life?
Yeah.
I think you can learn a lot just like from one, like functional fitness in general, which obviously there's other forms of functional fitness. I think that's a great thing to learn from CrossFit. The functional fitness version, like trying to carry over what you do in the gym to help you in your life. You know what I mean? Like especially if you work a manual labor job, or if you're a elderly woman who wants to be able to climb her stairs or put something on top of her top shelf. or you know what I mean, pick a soup can off the floor, things like that. Like functional fitness, your fitness should like reflect what you want out of your life, in my opinion. Um, if you want to compete, work out like you're going to, you know what I mean, train like you're going to compete. If you want to be able to climb a mountain, work out like you're trying to get fitter to climb a mountain. If it's for self-defense, work out like you're and help you train for self-defense, whatever it may be. And then I think another thing that people can take away from CrossFit and like its methodology is intensity for sure. That's the major thing in my opinion is intensity. Is that intensity in your workouts, intensity in life in general. Like intensity is key. You won't get anything out of life unless you're like, actually putting in the effort it requires. Effort is a choice, and like, I mean, obviously, effort is a choice, intensity is a choice, but it's always the right answer in my opinion.
I was talking to a friend of mine the other day. She's trying to kind of be a personal trainer at our church, but we were kind of talking about like a healthy body, healthy mind, and a healthy lifestyle could solve, or at least it could be like a foundational place to start as far as solving like a lot of issues like with our world.
Yeah.
Like in America or around the world. If, in your mind, if everyone started a form of pursuing functional fitness around the world, what do you think the changes would be?
I mean,
on a global basis, and
I don't think it doesn't even have to be functional. It doesn't have to be CrossFit. I think the world in general would benefit, like if they were, I think America in general.
Like if everyone just committed an hour a day to activity.
Oh, it'd be a whole different world.
Physical activity.
People would be happier, in my opinion. That's one thing people like. There's actually like a physiological thing you can look into that. Like how when you work out, you're like your serotonin levels rise. You know what I mean? I mean, there's different things that happen that actually make you happier.
Do you think that
when you exercise,
that kind of impact would like carry into like what we're seeing on the news almost?
I mean, I don't know if I could say that.
Yeah.
Maybe in a way, like we were like literally forced everyone to exercise.
Yeah.
But I think it would definitely change it. I don't want to say it would like change people in a whole, but I think if like our species in general, if like it was more ingrained in our minds still, like it was in the old days, like you had like you're either like you were fit or you know what I mean, you were either fit or you died.
Right.
Like when you think back to like I don't want to say paleo times because that's kind of gets stupid with CrossFit.
You talk about like medieval times or like biblical
even
times.
Then, but I mean, you think from like the human beings in there's no fat people in 10 AD. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, yeah.
I mean, if you were fat, you were gonna die. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? The thing about even like if you were like hey, like paleo times, you were a caveman.
Yeah.
If you weren't fit enough to go catch your food or kill someone or kill your food, protect yourself, you were gonna die. But it's not like that nowadays. Like we have everything we want in front of you, especially if you were raised in a nice household. You had everything given to you, and not to say, I mean, I had everything given to me, but I mean, I still work my ass off for things. Not to say it's a bad thing, but a lot of people they have that life. Everything was given to them. Money was, and they get to college, and then maybe something happens, and they stop getting their parents' money, whatever it may be, and they're not in shape. They don't want to like work for anything. It's just kind of get caught up in that. But I think if it was like the old days when you had much technology, it was whatever it may be, like if someone like yourself, like you couldn't have done what your parents wanted you to do on farms if you were out of shape. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, for a lot of people that live in the city or just have the easy life, they don't have to worry about that. I definitely think if we still had to, like you think like third world countries, I think it would make people more grateful if they had to remain fit and they had to like be fit for a purpose.
Right.
In my opinion,
yeah.
I wish it was like that.
What do you think we're going to see in the future years of CrossFit?
Like competition wise?
Competition, the way the sport conducts itself. Growing.
Like I think it's gonna keep growing. It's gonna get to a point where it's probably like if you're not a professional athlete, like if you have, like honestly like myself, it's gonna get to a point where I can't make it to regionals just because if I have a job, whatever it may be. Like you're gonna have to decide like I want to go to regionals, so it's gonna be my priority. It's gonna turn into that. There'll probably be a lot more money in it someday.
Yeah.
Like it'll probably get more standardized. Kind of like I think it'll get more. Like there'll be like a league per se, or I don't know.
What's the grand prize
For regionals? I don't know.
No, for the games.
It's like 500 grand, 750 grand. It's a lot of money.
When somebody comes in first place, that's how much they win?
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
Wow.
And then, but that's not what people live off when they, you can live off that, obviously.
Right.
When you make it to CrossFit Games, the thing that, like, people, you made it, because you just, sponsors roll in, you sign contracts, you get money.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people that make a living off CrossFit, make a lot of money, but they've been in the games 5 years in a row. They may have never won, obviously, but they have lots of sponsors. They make a lot of money. But they put in the work. You can't say that they just fell into these sponsorships. No, they made it to CrossFit Games.
Yeah. Is there any issues that you have with CrossFit right now? The sport of fitness.
I think the actual sport. I think sometimes it can be. I think if they want it to be as professional as it is, I think they should put a little more money into it, with the judges, and with the actual thought process of that kind of. You know what I mean? Because right now judges can really fuck up everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think if they maybe pay the judges whatever, maybe kind of standardize a little more. Same thing with the open. I love the whole video standard, all that, but there's a lot of flaws in that. You know what I mean?
There was an issue last week with the treadmills.
Yeah. On event 1.
You want to explain that?
Yeah. So
audience?
a couple of the people on event 1 last week. So event 1, it was a 3,000 meter row with a rowing machine, 300 double unders, which is basically jumping rope, but it goes into your feet twice, so it's quite a bit harder than a normal jump rope. 300 of those, and it was a 3-mile run, but it was on. It's called an assault runner. A lot of people have heard of a woodway or a curve. It's a self-propelled treadmill, so it's quite a bit harder than running outside. It slows you down. It was a 3-mile. It ended with a 3-mile run, and the monitor is supposed to be turned on, set to 3 miles, counting down. There's a couple of the monitors that did not turn on, did not work.
And why was that?
Yeah, I don't know. No one really knows. I think it's someone forgot to hit the button or just timed out, batteries died, whatever it may be. And they had a fail-safe. They count the revolutions. So a horrible job for the judge, but he has to count the revolutions. And there's just a white marker, and a certain amount of revolutions on the treadmill is a tenth of a mile, whatever it may be. But apparently that fail-safe on the 4 to 5 people whose thing turned off was not really accurate. Because each one, literally every single one of these 4 people whose treadmill turned off was in first through 4th, well ahead, minutes ahead of the second or the people behind them.
So there were some pretty good athletes that got gypped out of an opportunity.
There were some people who lost some points, and then the guy came down to the person I even know. He got 6th place by just a few points. Who knows? Maybe if those monitors would have worked, they would have been in the right spot. There's a lot of points up for grab, but yeah.
So right now, the sport of CrossFit isn't necessarily investing in all that it should be to be as efficient as.
Yeah, I think sometimes Dave Castro, the director of the CrossFit Games, is a little too caught up in making it a aesthetically pleasing sport to the crowd, in my opinion, in social media. Instead of making a test of fitness per se, sometimes it's turned into a Hunger Games for the show.
Right.
But there's nothing wrong with that. It's a sport. You got to make it crowd friendly.
But it's still fun. People are putting in, hours and hours of work every day to be. It is literally a game of inches and centimeters.
Oh yeah.
And that's literally what it's all about. And to be at that level, I guess, and to have kind of a screw up like that with people.
Yeah, it's not what you want. It's definitely not. You don't want something so it seems minuscule, it seems dumb to keep you out of something so important. Right. Especially for some of these people who get 6, they may not that may be their livelihood. They may lose sponsors over now the games. They may lose money. And who knows? They could have a family. They could have kids.
And it's simply because somebody forgot to turn on a
Exactly.
treadmill.
It wasn't from their hard work. It was from.
Well, that is interesting. But I would say one of the problems that I have with CrossFit as far as the movements go, the kipping pull-up.
You have a problem with kipping pull-up?
I really do.
Wow.
And it's not a huge deal.
You got to kind of define what you're talking about. You're talking about kipping pull-up,
but so,
butterfly pull-up.
And I'll define it for the audience. The kipping pull-up So there's a strict pull-up, right, where you're not moving your body, but you're simply, pulling.
You're not.
You're
So
pulling your body up to the bar.
A strict pull-up is just with your shoulder joint and your bicep, and
Right.
maybe in your back muscles, without using any hip extension, no momentum. That's the best way to work.
Yeah.
No momentum.
And then the kipping pull-up is where you use the momentum of your body to propel yourself up to.
But it's a gymnastics kip. It's a very functional movement, and it's not bad for your shoulders if you're doing it correctly.
Mhm.
Butterfly pull-ups, if you're doing those correctly, it's not that bad for your shoulders, but it's hard to do those correctly. So yeah, I understand. I don't think the common folk should be doing butterfly pull-ups.
Right.
And they should only be doing kipping pull-ups if they can do a strict pull-up. But if you have the capacity in your shoulder girdle to do strict pull-ups, then there's nothing wrong with doing kipping pull-ups.
Okay.
If you're doing it correctly and you're going through the correct ranges of shoulder flexion, shoulder extension, and proper dynamics, whatever it may be.
But that's always been my issue because
I
I've
think
always kind of thought to
yeah,
myself, is there a correct way to do that? Or is everyone kind of just doing it like that was a move that we all recently discovered in that sport, and then everyone's just kind of going with it?
The gymnastics kit?
The butterfly pull-up.
Oh, butterfly pull-up? Yeah, that wasn't really from gymnastics. I think that was some CrossFitter back in the day came up with it and realized it was a little bit, it's not functional. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I still do it.
Yeah.
You're
You have to, yeah.
Yeah, but it's good for normal people to learn. But yeah, there's nothing functional about that. I don't think anyone should be doing that on a daily basis because it does it can cause a little bit of fatigue to your shoulder joints. But yeah, I'm on the same page with the butterfly pull-up. I don't think that has any basis. There could be some gymnasts out there who can correct me, but I don't believe that has any basis in gymnastics. But the gymnastics kip has, the actual kip,
right.
Shoulder flexion, shoulder extension, that's
a real thing.
Yeah, that's the sport of gymnastics.
That is actually physiological.
Yeah. But from what I can think off the top of my head, I don't know any gymnastics events where they do a butterfly pull-up.
Right.
But yeah.
Well, let's shift gears for a second and talk about the Army.
Yeah.
What do you do in the Army?
I am a medical officer, so currently, I'm a platoon leader in charge of about 30 medics, combat medics, enlisted soldiers, and then about 10 officers, which are doctors. I think 6 of them are actual doctors, with 3 of them being behavioral health doctors, and then a couple PAs, physician's assistants, with different specialties, surgeons, whatever it may be, emergency care, and then a dentist and a physical therapist. I think I'm forgetting something. Maybe one more. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, basically, I'm a medical officer, and my position currently is here I'll make it real simple. So in the Army, we have different roles of care. We have role 1, 2, 3, and 4. Role 1 being actual point of injury, front lines. Someone got shot. You set up it's called an aid station.
Mm-hmm.
Point of injury care. Role 2 is usually a click away, 1,000 meters, a mile away from this point of injury, and it's a makeshift hospital per se.
Okay.
And that's what I run. I'm the treatment platoon leader, so the treatment side of all the casualties that are coming in through the role 2, I'm in charge of that. So when we're in the field, our actual job, if we're deployed, would be to be mobile and set up this hospital wherever it needs to be.
Okay.
It's basically containers, whatever it may be. But yeah, that's basically what I do. So it's basically the best way to think about it when you're back home is a floor manager of a hospital per se.
Okay.
Let's say we're just a one ward, the trauma ward, whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the manager of that per se. So I'm not an actual doctor, obviously. I have some of my medic certs.
You kind of make sure everyone's where they need to be, and the whole unit is
that's
functioning.
That's what I put it. It's just a floor manager.
I
do their admin work per se, the paperwork the doctors don't handle.
Okay.
Getting my medics trained on time, making sure their day-to-day things flow, taking care of them. Basically, that's kind of what I do.
What did you have to do to get to that position?
So, I joined when I right out of high school.
Mm-hmm.
I had to go through ROTC in college.
You got a scholarship.
Yeah, I got a scholarship for ROTC and for academics, and then each summer I would do some different training. I went to Kosovo for a while, training deployment kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
A couple other countries. Did airsoft school, which is just another school in the Army. Then you had to go through your final training, as a cadet, to commission as an officer. And then once I became an officer, and I got chosen to go medical. I had to go to what's called AMED, like the Army Medical Department, basically. It's called BOLIC, Basic Officer Leadership Course.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a few months, like a lot of field time, and then kind of learning your job.
Okay.
And then you get sent to your unit, and yeah, we went through some more training than with your unit, but yeah, you're kind of just thrown into it at that point. It's just kind of how it works.
I've wanted to ask somebody in the military about this, but since Trump has been in office, the Korean war between North and South Korea has ended.
I don't know if it's ended per se. I don't know.
What? Well, I don't know all the details in and out, but what are your thoughts and opinions
I mean,
on
I think
that?
it's a good thing. And so, I mean, when he first went off, we were kind of ramping up. Like everybody was on call for Korea. Basically, we thought, who knows, maybe there was going to be World War III. We're still saying there could be. You never know. We're not on the best terms with them, but I mean, I think it's a good thing. Obviously, I'm not going to disagree with my boss. I can't talk shit about my president since I'm in the Army.
Is everything we see on the news kind of correlating with what's going on in the Army? Or like, are y'all hearing the same things that we see?
Yeah. That's one major misconception people have. People always think, like, I'm in the Army or I'm an officer, they're like, oh, what's really going on over there? What do you guys know? But shit, I'll be honest, like, I don't even know. I know less than, if I don't watch the news, I know less than the normal population. Like, we just do our job. You know what I mean? You find out things when you find out. Like, we don't know we're deploying ahead of time. You know what I mean? That's how it works.
Okay.
Special forces maybe know more, but most soldiers, like, we're there to do a specific job. Like, we're not. My job is not to worry about what's going on in the world. My job is to like, be ready for when something happens.
Okay.
But yeah, I'd say with Trump in general, I think there's definitely been like kind of an upshift in like readiness. I think it's kind of a big platform of his. Like, he definitely pushed more money. People got raises in the military. More soldiers are joining. Yeah, just kind of how it goes. There's always an ebb and flow.
You were in the Army when Obama was in office, and you've been in while Trump is in the office. What kind of a switch was it?
Definitely more funding to the Army after Trump came in office. Not that Obama was bad. He was a great president. But, yeah, definitely more funding. Just like Trump passed a few different CARE Acts, defense bills.
Did the environment change?
I think the readiness, not the readiness, the op tempo kind of went up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that was in terms of Trump, but yeah, definitely. We started going to the field more. We started, units started deploying more, things like that. Yeah, that's how it goes usually when there's a Democrat or a Republican.
Mm-hmm.
Do
you think the entire U.S. military kind of leaned more towards Obama in favor or Trump in favor?
I don't know about that as a whole.
Do you think that really matters?
Not really. I don't think it's that big of a population per se who actually vote, but I'd say more Trump. I'd say as a whole, the Army is a little more Republican, conservative. Is a better word. But I think that's just kind of demographics at that point. You got to think there's more people in the Army who join from a conservative point of view, in my opinion, compared to liberal.
What do you think we will see from the U.S. military in the years to come, as far as just, anything typically?
Like wars in general?
Do you think everything's going to just keep kind of going the way it's going, or do you think
I
there's going to be downsizing, upsizing?
Oh, it's going to change rapidly. Like, you never know. Like, you never know what's going to happen. I mean, who knows with this whole Syria thing? That could break out, be another Iraq all over again, and then obviously it's going to be a big surge. Like, there's not going to be a draft unless there's a World War III, but I mean, there's going to be a big surge in like people staying in the Army. They're not going to want people to get out. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if that happened when I was trying to get out, they might make me stay in for a little bit. But I mean, that's just kind of what happens. Like, but yeah, but if things die down in Syria and then this Korea thing never happens, like, and we get a liberal president in probably, or just the next president, you'll probably see a downsizing. It's how things roll.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, think about any war after Vietnam, all the people who got out after the Korean War, after Gulf or Desert Storm. That was the big one. Downsizing, the 9/11 happened, and boom, everybody gets sent back in.
Yep.
But yeah.
So where do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years with the sport of fitness and with your career in the military? Right now.
I'll be out of the Army by then. I plan on getting out after I'm done with my contract. Not that I don't like it. It's a great job, but yeah, I have other things in mind for my life. I'd like to maybe go back to grad school, travel a little bit, different things like that.
Okay.
And CrossFit, yeah, I definitely want. I mean, who knows? Like, I I definitely know in the future I'll shift my point of view from wanting to compete to just staying fit
Mm-hmm.
and enjoying life a little more.
What do you think that'll feel like when you
It'll
get to
definitely
that
be tough.
point?
Like working out an hour a day, hour and a half a day.
When you realize I'm not actually aiming for anything anymore. I'm
Yeah,
trying to simply
I feel like it's
maintain.
gonna be tough, but at the same time, I think I'll always have to have a goal, a
Right.
fitness goal. Like my fitness goal in 10 years may not be to go to the CrossFit Games, but it could be get in shape to climb Mount Rainier or
Like a Tough Mudder.
yeah, exactly. Or to even I'll probably go through a phase where like physique is what I'm going at. You know what I mean? Like look better, whatever it may be. Just things like that.
Okay.
But I'll definitely have a goal. Always. Like I don't think anyone should ever work out without a goal. I don't care who you are. Even if your goal's simple, you should always have a goal.
Cool.
But yeah.
I'll ask you a couple more questions and we'll wrap it up. What is your favorite book?
Favorite book, Ender's Game.
Ender's Game?
Yeah, Orson Scott Card, Ender's Game.
Really? Why?
I think it's like, if you look into it a lot, there's a lot of like deeper meanings to it. But honestly, it's just a great fictional story. Like,
what are the deeper meanings? Because I only watched the movie, and obviously I didn't really
you
get a
never read
lot
the
out of
book?
the movie.
Yeah, the movie. I hated the movie.
Yeah.
It kind of made me mad. I didn't think it was a very good representation of like the whole thing. But like the whole Ender series, there's a lot. Like, there's many books to it.
There's more than one book.
Oh yeah, there's a lot. There's
So
like
there's
an Ender
another book.
series. There's like an Ender series, and then like one of his friends in that, Bean. I don't even remember. There's like a Shadow series about him. But yeah, it gets kind of political. Like if you ever read the books, like I don't know exactly what Orson Scott Card had in mind, but there's a lot of like takeaways you can get from it, like having a kid in charge of like the military, like what like the government puts their trust in, and then also like who the government like the site kind of see like I think he was kind of trying to say like that we take for granted like the sacrifices like the people who are like doing these decisions to like take like Ender for example, and kind of I think he was trying to like kind of poke fun or like not be like angry, but at how like they kept Ender in the dark to make these rash decisions and kill people. I think that kind of had like a little bit of a like what carry over to like modern day military, how like soldiers get sent in to do jobs they don't even know what they're doing, things like that.
They don't even know why they're there.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more to it. But the other books, if you ever read the series, which I highly recommend, they get a lot more complicated. Okay. It's not about kids fighting a computer game and later books. But
what's your favorite movie?
Man, probably either Gladiator, Troy, Saving Private Ryan, one of those probably.
Braveheart? Is Braveheart in there?
No, Braveheart's not one of my top three.
Because
I like Braveheart, but
I had Chase on here and he said it was either Gladiator or Braveheart.
No, I'd say honestly it's probably either Saving Private Ryan or Troy. I'm a sucker for Troy. I'm a sucker for Brad Pitt. Can't help it.
He's a gorgeous man.
I know.
Till the day he dies, he will be.
I know. Troy's a great movie.
What is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
No.
Is there anyone that's said something to you that's just stuck with you? That was just like, holy crap.
I mean, there's lots of little things. I don't know off the top of my head. I'd say one thing. Like I read this book. It's a good book. I think it was like Leaf something, and then Jocko Willink. I think is his name. He's a former Navy SEAL.
The Warrior Kid podcast.
Yeah, but
yes.
He wrote a book. He left forward in I think Extreme Ownership. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Yep.
It's a good book. But I think that's a big thing. Is like you should take ownership in everything you do in your life. So whatever your goals are, whatever like you're doing on a daily basis, I think you should be able to put your stamp on what you're doing. Like my platoon, for example, my soldiers, like whatever they're doing, like I should be able to take ownership of what they're doing.
Yeah.
My fitness, I should be able to take ownership of it. Like the mistakes I make, you take ownership. The good things you do, you take ownership, whatever it may be. I think that's a big piece of advice that I got out of it. And other than that, really just like I work on, I struggle with it, but I make a lot of excuses. I feel like, especially in CrossFit, like you've already heard me make a ton of excuses this weekend. Like even if they're valid or not, like my shoulder injury, for example, being flustered, being whatever it may be.
Where do you think those excuses come from?
I mean, I think it's being weak-minded. Not that I'm weak-minded, but I think everybody's a little weak-minded. But you want to impress people. You want you want people to like think you're better than you are. I think, in my opinion, I think that's just where they come from. But yeah, people always I've heard lots of people tell me like try not to make excuses and just like keep your head down. I think that's just one major thing because excuses don't do anything but like show that you're weak, in my opinion. But yeah, I still make plenty of them. Not perfect at all. Yeah.
What was the other question I was going to ask? If you could travel anywhere in the world, where would you go?
I like to go to Italy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, dude, it's beautiful.
Yeah, that's what I hear. That's what Lexi says. I'd love to go to Italy.
What part of Italy?
I don't know. Lots of different places. I'd like to go. One part I kind of want to see is like where we have an army base there in Vicenza. Is that how you say it?
Vicenza.
Okay, well, whatever.
You gotta hold your hand like that too when you say it.
I'd like to go there and see the 173rd Airborne Division. I could see the post. But yeah, then I'd like to travel everywhere. I'd like to go all over.
Cool. What's your favorite music, favorite band, favorite song?
I mean, I'd say
you know what? Don't answer the last question because nobody has a favorite song.
I have a favorite song.
Okay, what's your favorite song?
I'd say my favorite music. I may not listen to as much as I used to, but like, let's say just kind of like rock, like even like punk rock, I guess, like Blink-182 type stuff. But A Day to Remember is my favorite band of all time, and then my favorite song is Have Faith in Me by Day to Remember.
Okay. Yeah. Do you believe in aliens?
At the moment, I don't.
Extraterrestrial
I think
beings.
I don't want to say I don't. But I like to believe in what I can see, touch, and feel, or see proof of. But I'm optimistic. I think there could be aliens. I think there could be.
Yeah.
The world, the universe, the multiple universes, the infinite number of universes is too infinite and large.
Yeah.
To not think there's something else out there. Science and odds would not be in your favor if you said straight up that there was no chance of life somewhere else.
We were talking earlier today about being in a simulation.
Yeah.
If somebody asked you to kind of defend your thoughts on us being in a simulation, what would you tell them?
Well, if I believe that, I don't think we're in a simulation. But I mean, it'd be easy. Like you could easily like act like crazy and believe that because I mean, think about it. How do you know? I mean, even like you could even talk about Christians. Like, isn't that kind of thinking? Like, doesn't that kind of seem like a simulation? If you think there's someone with a higher power who created this and has full control over you, gives you free will, it kind of sounds like a simulation in my mind.
A simulation to see if a creation could be free-willed with the capacity to create.
Our creators aren't just like
to be imaginative?
How do you know they're not just smarter beings that put us in this simulation? Our thoughts and process, our mental process in the simulation, and they inserted this different religions to just like as a social experiment. You never know. But yeah, I just like I have a large imagination. I think through everything.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Not that I believe that, for the record. I don't
it's fun to think about, though. It's definitely fun to think about. Is there any going along with crazy topics like that? Is there anything that you would say that you have a belief or an opinion about that would not be popular with the rest of the world? Like, do you believe in Bigfoot, or do you think like,
no, I don't think
like, do you think the aliens built the pyramids, or
no?
Pretty much go with the flow.
Yeah, I don't have any like views. I'm just like steadfast on there. Wild. I'm sure I could like disagree with some people, but yeah, I don't know. No, I don't think I have any wild out there views that I'm just like steadfast on.
Okay.
No.
Cool. What? Let's see if I can think of any others. All right. Last thing. Give the audience a piece of advice or something that you would like them to implement in their life or live by, and then we'll wrap it up. If you could tell the audience anything.
I'll keep it simple. I'd honestly say just be a little tougher. Honestly, I think there's some people out there. I don't know if anyone's listening to this that even cares, but I think a lot of people, kind of what we were talking about earlier, I think you have these goals and you want to actually do something about them, but a lot of you. I'll stop cussing. I just realized that I've been cussing a lot. I didn't even think about that. Sorry,
yeah, it's gonna be weird, but it's all right.
Oh yeah, this is like
It's
I
all
didn't
right.
give on that.
Free speech, though.
Yeah, sorry.
That's
As you people can tell, I have a vulgar mouth, but that comes with joining the military. So if you're ever thinking about letting your kids or anyone in your family or yourself, if you ever want to join the military, be prepared to
it's just a matter of time.
say the F word every sentence for the rest of your life. It's just kind of what happens.
I don't think there's anything to worry about, though, because honestly, it's, well, for one, free speech, but at the same time, I think that's another thing that I actually would like to have as a part of this podcast is just letting people get to a point where it's like, oh, well, I don't like the way he dresses, or I don't like the way he acts, or something like that. Be like, well, hold on, hear what he has to say, and see if this person can bring any value to your life.
Some of the smartest generals I've ever talked to me said the word, said fuck every other sentence. It doesn't matter. It's a filler word in my opinion. Obviously, there's a time and place to use cuss words. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But yeah. Back to what I was saying for my advice.
Be a little tougher.
I'll just keep with my vulgar too. Like how a lot of you out there don't know how to man up and like get the things you want. Like take ownership and take control of your life. In my opinion, stop saying you want to travel the world. Stop saying you want to do all this crap when you don't even have a steady job. For one, you don't put in like the effort in your relationships in life with your family, whatever it may be. Just like kind of take ownership and like take control of your life. That's kind of what I would tell people.
And here's a little thing about that too. Anybody who hears something like that and I would say gets offended or gets a little put off because somebody had to say something real to you.
The people who
that just reveals your hand.
Yeah, no, and it just reveals like you're the people I'm talking to. If you ever hear someone say like get your life together and like to the masses and it makes you angry, you're probably the person who needs to get their life
You're
together.
just like, what does this guy know about me? And be like, well,
exactly. I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe the people who are going to be upset. I have my life together.
I think the people that have their life together or are tough and hear that, they wouldn't care because they're secure in knowing that they can put a stamp on their day.
Exactly.
All right, well, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you guys for listening. I will be back with you guys in the next week or so. Thank you all again. Is there any announcements that I have? Oh, yeah, announcements. I am starting a Patreon account for helping out Up Louisville, which is Andrea Scott's nonprofit for homeless women and children. I'm going to have a buddy on soon. His name's Ryan Franklin. He is with Team Expansion, and he is helping out different mission groups and different church planters around the world. None of the money in the Patreon account will go towards me or helping build the podcast at all. It is simply going towards donating to those causes and any other causes that will end up on this podcast. But yeah, thank you guys again. If you guys feel the need to or want to participate in that Patreon account, you can. I wouldn't ask for any more than $1 a month, and honestly, just you'll be able to get updates on how you helped made an impact on these certain foundations or these certain opportunities. And also, I am putting together a couple of different clothing items on my blog and my website. I'll be releasing different designs every couple of weeks. So if you feel like you want some new clothes and you want to also help the podcast and the cause, that money will go to me and help building this podcast and this website. Please feel free to buy a t-shirt or a sweatshirt or any of the merchandise that's on my website. And then if you have any suggestions for any type of style or designs that you'd like on a t-shirt, you can message me directly and I can put that together for you. But other than that, have a blessed day. I hope my buddy and I were able to bring some value to your life. And God bless.